he won his match yesterday. So he does have 3 points. And we're about to start Anish with the black pieces, Jan-Krzysztof Duda. The first Blitz game, the first tiebreak in the Oslo Esports Cup. What opening will we see Jan-Krzysztof Duda making that decision in a few seconds? It's very tense, these seconds before it all starts.
Very tense, and it's so hard to predict the result, hard to predict the opening. Both players as well, they won't know what to expect. Neither of them have been in this situation for a while, at least. And, OK, here we go. It's a Queen's Pawn opening, d4, and the moves are going to come super fast. It's a London system.
And I did not expect Anish to play a fianchetto system, because that's very dynamic. And, yeah, they're moving quick, though. Moving very quick.
Very quick, and this is great for some of the viewers at home. I know the London system's very, very popular at kind of the club level, at the amateur levels, and yeah, it can be a very effective opening, especially in Blitz, where the plans are very similar for white. You bring your bishop out, plant it on this square, and just let black do what he wants. Here we go, Anish trying to counter in the centre already. Black's knight in the middle of the board. Will we see it get traded off? Will we see it maybe help to launch an attack? Anish playing very aggressively with black.
Very aggressive. I mean, he moved that knight into the middle. I'm wondering if he's going to push his f-pawn at some point. First of all, he stops white from expanding on the queen side, but he's playing one of the most aggressive systems you can against the London system here.
Yeah, I've played like this myself a few times as black, especially in Blitz games, and it can be very effective if your opponent, as white, can't find a plan. But Anish, wow, this is a move I haven't played myself. He must have studied it deeper. He's brought his knight back, trying to trade off one of white's best defenders. Trade off a set of knights to maybe just weaken the white king. But Duda reacts instantly. Will we see Anish push that pawn, Simon? Push black f-pawn.
Well, I'm wondering at some point if you can develop the bishop with tempo. Black's got one undeveloped piece. That's the bishop, the light squared bishop. I'd love to get that in the game. If I go here, I might run into a blockading move. He's pushed them. That's even more aggressive. Anish is going for it. He's really going for it with the black pieces here.
No safe, solid chess here. This is pure fire already. And Duda on the defensive as white, maybe. And the evaluation bar not approving, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad for black. Black is upping the stakes here by going on the attack, and a trade of pawns, sensible.
It is sensible, and one thing that black must never ever forget is that there is a dark squared bishop for white lurking in the corner. It's so easy to forget about that piece and just consider it a pawn. And I say this is because often it's very tempting for black to actually push the e-pawn one square further, just attacking the knight. But that would be a huge, huge mistake. And Duda now applying pressure to the centre by attacking, well, potentially attacking the black queen.
Yeah, and OK, the black king just hides in the corner. No more checks. I'm surprised the black queen didn't move. But OK, Duda, does he have an idea here? What can he try and attack the black queen, maybe?
Look at Duda's chessboard. He has a different design than all the other players. He likes his wooden design.
Classical.
Yeah.
Classical chessboard. And I mean, for myself, I always like having a space advantage with black, and it seems here that those two pawns, I play openings to get those two pawns that Anish has got next to each other coming towards white's king. So it might be personal preference, but I you know, the kind of position I'd love to have with black here.
This is a very Simon Williams type of position, and there we do see the board up close. In the Chess24 play zone, you can change the settings. I've even seen Magnus Carlsen in a banter blitz have a football chessboard with it's a football pitch, and the middle of the board is basically the center circle. Some cool designs there. So Duda, okay, he attacked the black knight stepping back, not allowing a trade there, attacking white's light squared bishop. There's a lot of tension here. There's a couple of knights looking at each other. There's a couple of minor pieces on the other flank looking at each other, and still this tension against the black queen. Okay, the bishop retreating. I'm expecting Anish maybe to bring his knight back where it came from, just to test Duda's intentions. And still very, very tense here. Simon, I agree with you. I love those black pawns in the centre, but you need to keep them stable, right? Yeah,
I mean, one plan I often do in these positions, if I can get it in, it's probably not doable here, is go push the G-pawn, Gary, and push the F-pawn, because that bishop Jovanka mentioned, hiding in the corner, if you can shut that down and then swap all the pieces off, you're positionally winning. So you've got to be careful what pawn you push, again, as Jovanka pointed out, because he's pushed the pawn I did not expect.
No, not that
because
pawn.
that unleashes that bishop. So I'm very surprised that that pawn's gone there. I mean, Was that the right thing? Okay, swapping the bishop off, but this seems peculiar to me.
Like this at
Why swap
all.
off your opponent's bad piece?
Yeah,
Activate it first of all.
and weaken your king. You're weakening your king massively. This seems like a peculiar way to play.
Yeah, it feels like Anish, he went on the attack. We were praising him for it. He built up this great position with lots of potential, and then now he's just trying to take the safety first approach. It's not consistent. And now after this trade of dark squared bishops, yes, black has a nice centralized queen, but if you look at the rest of black's pieces, black's light squared bishop not developed, like you highlighted earlier, Simon. Black's knight on the edge of the board, far inferior to white's knight in the center, and black's rooks yet to connect, yet to bring themselves to the center. Yes, black has a nice pawn chain, but it's only a pawn chain, and white's pieces are activating. It's turning in white's favor now.
Certainly, yeah. This is just not. I don't think it's the way to play the position. To swap that piece off. Also, you know, that knight, the white knight, isn't a great square, but it can reroute itself, opening up the rook. Black's knight. Look at black's knight. I don't like it.
Literally has no safe squares to jump to, and it's stuck on the rim on the side of the board.
It's not the only piece as well. That light squared bishop is also kind of stuck, guarding that d7 pawn, stopping a potential rook excursion to the 7th row. No, this is a dream for white.
Nice move there from Duda as well. Stepping forward with one rook, but that's to create a square for his other rook to join the action. White is going to stack up both of his rooks on the only open file, the D file, and once white's rooks get there, every single one of white's pieces is going to be superior to black's. And okay, Ivanka mentioned that bishop has to move at some point. Black's parked it on a square that's a bit loose. It just feels all wrong for black. But
it's certainly all Duda at the moment, I think, this game.
Control.
So, I mean, there's many ways that white can just improve a little bit, but taking the open file seems a logical first step. You can maybe put your pawns on the king side on some better squares to hold those dark squares as well. But I think Duda's going to be very happy at the moment.
Yeah, and there's not even any nifty backward move to kind of like release the tension or set up some tactical trick. And now the bishop, you mentioned it on d7, it's so shaky. I mean, is there anything now?
White's knight has a few squares to jump to, potentially. If white's knight leaves that file, then the white rooks have opened up. We saw Anish a moment ago just shaking his leg, maybe slightly nervous. But clock times do favour him. So Duda down to 2 minutes, Anish at 3.5 minutes. Remember, they do gain 3 seconds after every move, but that's not that much. And it might come down to a time scale.
It's very hard to adjust the times. What I find when you're playing like a longer time limit, you suddenly play Blitz, and if you get to an Armageddon, that's a whole different story. But I like this manoeuvre. I like that knight getting out of the way of the rook, but that knight has another position nearer to the black king, which could also be quite juicy later on. So this is just logical play. But I suppose you could say Nishi doesn't have too many structural weaknesses. He seems a bit overexposed on the king side, but there's nothing too weak. There's no obvious pawns that white can pick up here.
Yeah, so if he survives this...
If he survives, it'd be okay.
Yeah.
He's about to move his bishop to a bit of a strange square. He was about to put it in front of his pawns over there. He was about to put his black bishop on the c6 square, but the black knight maybe needs that square. What is Anish going to do? He has to move his bishop. His mouse, you can see it hovering over that bishop right now. He has to move it. There's only really 3 safe squares. Either he can offer a trade, now he retreats the bishop. That's the safer option. And now, Simon, as you mentioned, white knight is going to start springing forward. Black has 2 nice pawn chains on both sides of the board, but apart from that, it's all about the black knight being inactive and the white rooks dominating the only open line. Still in white's favour, but the clock time's in Anish's preference right now.
I mean, if I was white, I might even push the h-pawn 1 square, because I want to secure those dark squares on the king side for my pieces.
In any position, Simon.
Yeah.
Always a good idea.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it's rubbish, but in this case...
I think it makes a lot of sense.
I want to hold the black pawns, make sure they're... OK, he's gone for a tactical solution.
OK, Duda going very direct, going for the win. He attacked the black rook. The black rook has vacated the 8th rank, and now white is trying to take over this key 8th rank. But it's just a trade for now, and the black king coming under some heavy fire. If the white rook comes across in front of the black king and checks it, black's king is going to have to step out into the open. But then again, Duda's losing a bit of time to do this. Maybe the attack isn't decisive yet.
Yeah, I mean, if white can get the knight somehow in as well, that seems like it could be the end. I mean, this rook check now behind the king, that must be the critical move, as you pointed out, David, because you force black king to come up again. He's calculating. This is where you want that extra time, though. He's under a minute.
Given a check, and the king is hidden away in the corner. But this is kind of quite risky, because if you don't find the right path, then black will be the one taking the centre.
Bishop takes pawn, maybe. I mean, or something like this, something tactical.
Bishop takes pawn and then the
Does
knight
that work?
jump in.
Yeah, or even you got
Or
something
even
like
you can
this.
just jump in with the knight.
Yeah, straight away. I mean, looks every white piece is near that king.
Duda shook his head for a moment. OK, he's about to bring his knight forward. He's about to click on the square, as you guys mentioned, bring that knight forward towards the king. And, OK, he's done it. And, OK, 30 seconds. Maybe that's why he's shaking his head. He has a great position on the board. Big attack incoming against the black king, but it's just about the clock. Does he have enough time to calculate those finishing touches?
Yeah, and also the queen can actually divert herself to the D1 square at the right time and kind of head to the right.
I love that move because I was thinking black might have to push the G pawn here, and then that queen comes right around the angles there. It's a really nice idea. If that queen can get to the king side, it's finished.
Yeah,
So,
if you can pick up that white queen and put it anywhere near the black king, it's just game over, right? If you could pick it up and put it on the H4 square, it's checkmate already.
but it's been those. Look at the black pieces on the queen side. This is the problem. That knight, that bishop.
Black is playing without two pieces.
They're really not taking part. I think it's going to have to be. Anish has still got a chance to strike back with the white pieces in the next game. Let's remember that. So it could still go to Armageddon, but this is a great. It looks like a great start for Duda. Not over though. 30 seconds left. I'd be very nervous here with 30 seconds in any position.
Anish is changing his mind though. He was about to make a move with his queen. He didn't. Maybe he's realising how bad it is.
Yeah.
Big threat in the position of actually just playing bishop takes pawn.
Massive threat, you know, take that pawn with the bishop, maybe even with the knight is also good as your queen can come back around, but they both look terrifying to me, and I don't know how black is going to stop that.
Yeah, the black king just out on a limb. It's got no defenders around it, and as you guys say, any sacrifice to get rid of pawns around that black king is going to be decisive. I don't see a defense for Anish. I'm surprised the evaluation bar says only 0.8 in white's favor because it looks super scary, and Anish has spent more than half his remaining time on this one move. It looks like it's almost game over. Black has to maybe even give up his queen to try and defend, and give up the queen for a rook and a piece or two. But, OK, he's about to bring his queen back. There we go, attacking white's bishop, and white's bishop is going to give itself up. Duda had the time there while Anish was thinking to calculate. And here we go, black's queen gave herself up, but in return, black now has a rook, a bishop, and a knight. Actually, that favours black materially, but look at the bishop and knight, as Simon said. They're just useless pieces right now, and white has pawns.
Yeah, Harry, I'm looking at Harry. If it can advance, it's going to go all the way.
Here it comes. I mean, this reminds me very much of a Tau game. This is one of Tau's favourite material imbalances, where he had a queen against three pieces. When those pieces are not coordinating, the queen is just so strong. And yeah, that H-pawn's going to win the game here.
It's 3 squares away from promotion, and black's knight is far more than 3 squares away from stopping it. So, yeah, this one looks game over. There's no way black's pieces can combine in time to stop this white pawn from marauding forward.
Yeah, you're going to have to give up a lot of material.
Yeah, and there we go, 2 squares away from promotion. The black bishop doing a desperate job of defending, but now the rest of the pawns are simply dropping. Look at that black knight, it still can't re-get in the game
Oh, and
safely.
here comes Gary.
God, they're all having fun.
Double trouble.
Yeah, all those pawns advancing, and the queen on a nice dominant square right now. Black's knight, Anish is finally going to reroute it, re-centralise it, but I think the cause of black's defeat, other than earlier trading off some pieces in a bad situation, was putting his knight on the edge of the board. He didn't need to do that, and he never got his knight back into the game. OK, he changed his mind, moving his rook instead, but that black knight's still unhappy. And white can even give a check now and put the queen in the corner at some point. OK, there we go, the queen in one corner. Pawns are marching forward.
Time though, 16.
Touch.
You know, there's 20 seconds. You've got to still finish this correctly. I mean, you can make a mistake.
And white's queen centralises itself. This is what Duda didn't do against Magnus Carlsen yesterday. One of his losses, he didn't centralise his queen. He's learnt from that. Queens are so good in the centre, and actually Anish doesn't have many safe squares for his king right now.
Has to go back, and now the queen just wriggling its way in. At some point, that G-pawn will come down the board, and that will probably cost black a piece to stop it.
Minimum. I think
those
2 white pawns on the right side, they're going to cost black at least a piece each, maybe.
Yeah.
And, OK, the black king just desperately trying to find a safe square. Is now the moment maybe to push a pawn? Nope. First a check from Duda. And is he going to go into the corner and trap that black knight?
Lovely move there. Beautiful move.
Why is that so beautiful?
Because the knight is trapped, it cannot move, and so therefore it's ripe for the taking.
Yeah, and I thought Anish was actually going to resign and give up there because his knight did fall, but at least he's going active with his king, picking off some pawns. All white needs to do now is re-centralise the queen, and the black rook, the black bishop, they cannot keep everything together. I think this is going to be game over any moment now. Anish is going to resign. He's down to 15 seconds as well. It's desperate times.
It's no good way to defend the rook, so rook moves.
And there we go, a check, another pawn drops. The black king now is actually a big target. White's queen is going to zigzag back and checkmate it. Okay, ooh, jumping into the frying pan there, the black king.
2 checkmates on the board.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
the bishop
yeah.
has to give a check. The white king steps to the center. And yeah, that's it, game over.
It's a win for Jan-Krzysztof Duda in the first